There's no better feeling than a personal win, and the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you do just that. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Get softer, smoother, and more even-toned skin after just one use with the new Gentle Exfoliating line from Cetaphil. Formulated with a unique triple acid blend that promotes surface skin cell renewal, these gentle chemical exfoliators remove dead skin cells and refine skin's texture while hydrating, resulting in softer, smoother, more even-looking skin. Shop the new Cetaphil Gentle Exfoliating line in the face and body aisles at your local Target store or online at Cetaphil.com.
So attention cricket clubs and cricketing family, are you ready to step up to the crease and make a long-lasting impact on your club's legacy? Listen up, we've got something special for you. Introducing Fund It Now, the revolutionary fundraising platform that's changing the game for cricket clubs everywhere. With Fund It Now, clubs of all sizes can create a lasting legacy by selling personalised plaques to their passionate members, supporters and cricket club family.
That's right, Livo. Fund It Now has already left its mark on some of cricket's most iconic venues like Lords, the home of cricket, Somerset County Cricket Club, and with projects such as the Father Time Wall and Somerset Legends Wall.
And here's the best part, Hugh. There are absolutely no upfront costs. Fundraising has never been more simple or accessible.
Imagine walking around your club's ground or up to the pavilion and seeing a bespoke wall of dedication, celebrating the history of your club and supporting its future with every plaque. It's like your club's very own shrine to the sport we all love.
And getting involved couldn't be easier. Simply visit Fund It Now's website at funditnow.co.uk to get started today, or drop them an email at info@funditnow.co.uk to learn more. It's time to rally your supporters and start raising money like never before. And don't forget to tell them you heard it from us at the Premier League Cricket Show.
So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of clubs and grounds like Somerset County Cricket Club and Lords and make your mark on cricket history.
Visit Fund It Now today and start building your fundraising platform. That's funditnow.co.uk. Fund It Now, where passion meets purpose at your cricket club, and begin creating your own legacy. So welcome everybody to one of our last match week recordings. I think we've only got 1 or 2 left now before, unfortunately, the season ends. But I think it's fair to say, Mr. Newsome and myself will say, can we take a bit of a breather? Because the last 21 weeks have been manic, and this weekend's been no different at all, Hugh, has it?
You know, it's just kind of built up and up and up and up, isn't it? And, you know, it's all sort of compressed together towards the end. But yeah, but it's been good fun.
It has, yeah. I mean, we look at 1 or 2 of the leagues around the country week in, week out, and we've got some really crackers that went down to the nth degree, the last moments of the season to look at later on during the show. But with us as guest today is a ex-Derbyshire player who has found his way to Derbyshire. And I think the best way to put it is he's not one of our overseas at the crease. So when you hear him and his accent, he does sound like one of our overseas boys, but he's not. He's practically a Derby lad now, to say the least. And joining us to talk about Derbyshire League this week, because that's coming to a great conclusion, is Dustin Melton from Ockbrook and Borrowash. How are we doing, Dustin?
Hey up, lads. How are we doing?
Hey up, lads. That's proper Derby, isn't it?
Viking, I think it's Viking, isn't it? Hey up.
I wouldn't know. No, that's not. That's not something I'm too clued up on. It's just it's a nice phrase, another way of greeting people, yeah, isn't it? It was a bit. I don't know, when I was greeted with the A-up duck when I first came here, I was like, what's going on here? But
are you from Zimbabwe originally, Dustin?
Born in Zimbabwe, lived there about 3 years. The adopted by my mum at the time, then moved to South Africa, grew up in South Africa. I'm a South African, really.
What's the South African version of A up miduk then?
How's it, bro?
100%.
How's it, bro?
Alveston and Bolton, Sandy Acre leading the league, Ockbrook and Borrowash are third in Derbyshire. We'll come to that in a little bit later, but let's talk about yourself, Dustin. How's this season been?
From a personal point of view, probably one of my better seasons in a quite a long time. Last season was kind of my first season out of the professional game, so I was trying to figure it out. I was struggling with a bit of an injury, so kind of trying to find my feet again in the cricket world. But this year's I've done quite nicely, which is nice because I've needed that for my own confidence from a cricketing point of view, because you can ebb and flow in your career. So yeah, this year's probably been one of my highlights from a cricketing front. Would have been nice to get some silverware, of course, but at the end of the day, I'm quite happy with where my game's at the moment. My body's managed to get through a whole full season, which I'm more than pleased about. So I'll take that and run with it, really.
A friend of mine faced you earlier in the year and said he didn't see it. So I think you're doing all right. You're bowling pretty well, yeah.
Who was your friend? Just
Paul Edwards at Spondon.
Right. Paul Edwards. Yeah, I know him well.
I think he did say he got you away for four behind him, but then I don't think he saw the next one.
Yeah, no. To be fair to Paul, you can wield the willow a little bit. But yeah, and he's a hell of a competitor, to be fair. But yeah, no, Paul's a good lad. Spondonite through and through, I believe.
Yeah.
Paul's he's a dangerous little away swingers that bamboozle most batsmen, really, season after season.
And looking at your Ockbrook and Borrowash season, I've got to ask the question. There's got to be going into that last weekend now, the championships between Alveston and Bolton and Sandy Acre. There's got to be a little bit of disappointment over the last 2 or 3 weeks of where you've ended up, because it looked like a three-way battle, and Sandy Acre have come quite late, I know, but it looked like a three-way battle 2 or 3 weeks ago, didn't it?
Yeah, a bit disappointing, because we went on quite a long winning streak. So I think it was something like 15 games we went unbeaten, and we managed to lose to a lower half side, which we should have really won. We've got bowled off 120, and we couldn't necessarily defend it, even with the bowling attack that we've been fortunate to have this year. And it's kind of started a little bit of a wobble, and we started doubting ourselves a little bit, especially from a batting unit point of view. Which was a bit disappointing to see, because we've got some fantastic cricketers in that team. And it's just the lads needing to try and actually tap into their skills and their talent. Young side, and it has been a young side. Gareth Young's been kind of maturing these lads from when I first joined the club. So for the last 5 seasons, these lads have come from being 18, 19, kind of learning their trade, getting older, more mature, learning how to score runs, learning how to get 50s and maybe doubling up and then trying to get tons. But it will come true. I've seen enough cricket to know that it will come true, and we just have to have a little bit of patience. I mean, we've been in 2 cup finals this year. We've been to finals day for the T20 stuff, where we kind of bottled it there a little bit. But 2 cup finals, lost both of them on the same weekend, which was heartbreaking, to say the least. And yeah, not being able to, just keeping ourselves out of contention for the last game of the season was a bit heartbreaking as well. I think we need something miraculous like A and B to lose very badly and not get 1 bonus point, and Sunday could lose for us to actually have a hint at it.
We'll have a look at that shortly. I mean, you talk about that bowling attack, and we've commented on your bowling attack. I'm going to say 12 times this season at least. I mean, when I consider that this weekend you had somebody called Sam Connors. I don't know who he is really, but he's got a bit about him, hasn't he? Sam Connors stepping up into the fold with yourself. Shamar has obviously gone off to Durham. Gareth Young, I mean, he's got a few wickets over the years. Josh Lacey. I mean, you've got to have the strongest bowling attack in the Premier League in Derbyshire by a mile.
Well, I would say that, to be fair, and if I'm fair in saying it, I think a lot of other clubs that we've played against would say the same. And to be fair, everyone comes up against us. They want to beat us. They know we're competitive. We're a feisty bunch when we walk onto the pitch as well. We play a hard game of cricket, and then we obviously try and do the right thing and have a beer and have a chat after the game. And we play the game right. We play it hard. Our bowling attack's been prolific this year. I mean, Shamar and Gaz taking the new ball, and Sammy when he's available. Mm-hmm. Him and Shamar opening the bowling together it's a frightening combination. Boys who can swing the ball in and away, hit you in the head when they want to, break your toe if they want to. You know, it's not necessarily what you want as an opening batter when you're facing a brand new conker, especially a Juki on a green seamer as well. So yeah, we've run through quite a few batting lineups this season, and I think it's without a shadow of a doubt a good strength of ours. We just needed to bring it together with the batting unit, that's all.
I mean, you talk about the strength. I mean, I think in terms of seam attack, I would say it's possibly one of the strongest in the country in Premier League wise. Yeah. There won't be. I couldn't name you a better one. But I mean, the game that sticks out to me is the Denby game, 1st of June. Obviously, we've had a bit of weather. And you didn't even get a bowl. You bowled them out for 23 and 17 overs, and you didn't get a bowl. Sam Connors, 8 overs, 2 for 8. And Shamar, 8 overs, 6 for 15. Right. Gareth Young, 1 over for 1. You know, it's just you know, if you're not even getting a bowl and you're bowling teams out, it shows you the strength of the side you've got.
I think that was the first time I've ever actually been involved in a game where I've not bowled a ball, which. Well, yeah. To be fair, it was quite frustrating because I'd been bowling nasty all year, and I was always itching to bowl, and I knew what my position would be and my role would be. It's at the end of the day, short game's a good game, and we made light work of that. Yeah, it was a good game to be part of. Quite freakish, especially when we set a league record, bowling a team up for 26, and then about an hour later, that record gets broken.
Yeah, by Paul Sawley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what was quite remarkable about that in particular is Denby went into this season as definitely one of the top 3 or 4 favourites to win the Premier League. They had I've said it a number of times on the show, quite a poor first half of the season, to say the least, whereas the second half, they're the form side practically coming right through. So you probably got them at the right time as well, but you don't set the fixtures, do you?
No, we don't. Well, to be fair, it was just one of those freakish days. Denby have always been a competitive side. They've quite a few times where they've been the monkey on our back, and we kind of need to try and get them off the back. Going away to theirs is obviously always challenging. They've got some fantastic spinners in their lineup, and they normally tend to spin teams. Yeah, spin themselves to victory, beating teams bowling second. So at the end of the day, they're always a competitive side. They're a good unit. They've been together for a few years. So you always know you're going to get a decent fixture against them.
Definitely. I'm going to just take a moment now, Dustin. We're going to jump around a couple of leagues while we're chatting today. And there's been some leagues around the country that have come to a conclusion over the weekend. And the one I'm going to start with, because I missed this one, I must admit, because we were a bit busy at the National Cup final yesterday. But the Cheshire League came to its conclusion yesterday, Hugh, with what could only be described as a catastrophic set of events for a couple of clubs, didn't it?
We had a very, very strange set of circumstances. Not strange, well, particularly not in this summer, but unfortunate set of circumstances. So we had a couple of games played on the Sunday. I think teams maybe could have chosen to play an extra game or start the season earlier, and a few did and a few didn't anyway. So the majority of games finished on the Saturday, but we had a couple of promotion/league defining games on the Sunday. And obviously the weather yesterday was, depending on north-south split, was rather poor in the north. So unfortunately, we got Grappenhall were playing Hyde and Nantwich were playing Didsbury. Now, Hyde just needed to win. Grappenhall needed to win to avoid relegation, and that game got abandoned. And Nantwich got their game in 28 overs, bowled Didsbury out for 93, and then got it done in 10 overs and got the game completed. So they jumped ahead of Hyde to win, and obviously the loss sent Grappenhall down by 3 points. So yeah, it was a really, really unfortunate abandonment at Grappenhall. I'm sure both teams would have been itching to get on. Grappenhall were 44 for 5, which probably wasn't sending things in the right direction. But poor old Hyde, got cooked there by the weather.
I think the most remarkable thing is they're seeing Didsbury in third place being cooked by Nantwich in 18 overs, 93 all out. Nick Anderson, who's one of the top run scorers last week, and took wickets as well, out for 4 early doors. The top 4 batters, 18, 13, 15, 10.
Yeah.
But once they bowled them out for 93, Nantwich just went absolutely ballistic. 97 for 4 off 10 overs. They saw the weather coming clearly. Grappenhall and Nantwich ain't that far apart when you look on a map. No. And to see that effectively the rain has put Grappenhall down and the rain has won Nantwich the title. Now, okay, we all know 22-game season, it's not all decided by just that. But I would not want to be Ben Boder at Grappenhall today, and he's a friend of the pod, and I feel for him massively to know that they've been relegated because of the rain. And can you imagine the guys at Hyde seeing what happened at Nantwich?
Yeah, it's a tough one to take, isn't it? It's just a messy scorecard, but I think Nantwich just knew, were just able to get the job done with the ball there, weren't they? And then it's a T10. They just teed off in a T10 format, play without fear. Everybody's striking at well over 100. So, I mean, what a win for them. That's a massive win, that, isn't it? So congratulations to them to be able to pull it out of the bag in such short circumstances. That's, credit to them. And maybe those are the moments that win your leagues.
Absolutely. I joke about it slightly, but it won't be just yesterday that's won the league or lost the league for anyone. It's over the whole season, without a doubt. Although I will still say, looking at the Cheshire Premier League table, it is the most complicated league table in the world to try and work out. And to try and work out where those extra points could have got Hyde the championship or could have got Grappenhall to stay up. Again, bloody formats, bloody points in league systems. It just does me head in, Hugh.
Yeah. Well, I think is it the Hampshire in the Sussex, is it the Sussex Prem or whatever?
Average points. Would have changed it, wouldn't it? Because the weather.
16.24 points to win the title. Yeah, I mean,
Dustin, looking outside in at other leagues, and obviously you focus on the Derbyshire League, but looking outside in, it must blow your mind the amount of different variations we've got around the place.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, you have it on your Instagram or Twitter feed where you got pins. 32 prems in the country. It's a hell of a lot of cricket teams, isn't it? And each league got their own way, own view, the way a league should be structured, and point system should be handed out, and how many teams should be in it, and who gets relegated, what you're allowed from a professional point of view. Like a quota system in a sense, like how many overseas you can have in a club. It's quite vast and interesting, to be fair. I'm quite surprised some leagues haven't picked up what they do in the Southern Hemisphere, like Australia, for example, where they play the Prem over 2 days. It's interesting. Because, I mean, a lot of our boys, so Josh Lacey's for one, he's gone over quite a few times. And he said it's quite interesting because one day you'll be batting on a hard wicket, and then the next weekend you'll be bowling on a green seamer when it's your turn to have a go at them. So I think it would be an interesting format to see in the leagues. But I'm doubtful anyone's going to be willing to take the plunge and actually start it.
We have one word of warning, and it's the simple reason that'll never happen in this country. What's it called, Hugh?
Weather.
There's the rain.
We can see. I mean, we've spoke to Teague Wiley earlier this year, and a couple of other Aussies, Bryn Llewellyn from Ipswich Hornets and Clifton Alliance, and we can't get our head around it. It does feel quite strange, but there has got to be. We're gonna have a big round table on this one, Hugh. There's no two ways about it, because there's got to be a better way to solve this system around the country, because it is so variable, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the format in South Africa? Did you play club cricket in South Africa, Dustin?
Yeah. I played a couple. I played a couple seasons back in SA, and really it was. If I remember off the top of my head, we're going back quite a few years now, 8 years. Just 50 over format, power plays, red ball, white kit, traditional old school win-lose cricket, really.
Right. And is that fairly uniform across South Africa, or does each sort of?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And then you get your various different national comps that clubs enter. University cricket's quite big in South Africa as well. Right. So you have some clubs associated as a club on its own, and then you have a university attached to the club, and they'll play university cricket and club cricket as one sort of entity.
What was your path through to you coming over to Derbyshire?
Well, it's a long one. So I don't know how much time you got on your hands.
You're not that old.
No, well, it was a case of played a bit of club cricket back in SA, played some Prem, had some decent performances, and the head coach at the time, Peter Brain, who coaches Namibia at the moment, he was coming over to coach at Leicester, and we just won like a university World Cup event. And he said to me in the dressing room, I want to take you to England with me, and I want you to experience it, come play, and get involved in it, because I think you've got what it takes. He said, I don't really see a future, in England for you. So, or in South Africa. And I think you'll, if you can, get over, which I did at the drop of a dime, followed him, and then got put with a lovely club called Sudbury Cricket Club in the East Anglian Prem. So I spent 3 seasons there, got good success out of that. We won the league 2 years in a row in my last 2 seasons there. And then got scouted by Derbyshire. They got in touch with me, got me come for a couple of net trials, liked the look of me, and then got me playing throughout the season. So that was kind of the move towards, and I was about 24 when I came up to Derbyshire.
And going back to your South Africa days, I did pick up, and this is what we have these funny conversations, you and I. Whenever anything's to do with South Africa, it's me. Whenever it's to do with Western Australia, it's you. Is it fair to say you didn't go to the most cricketing of cricket schools when it comes to South Africa? It's more a rugby school, PBS, isn't it?
Yeah, well, various, all sports really. You got
all sports,
tennis.
Yeah. But you've got the guys. You got the rugby matches with the guys over the tracks, literally, which were just they were monstrous, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, Lewis Deploy, who's a cricketer over here at the moment, he's the same age as myself, and we played our cricket against one another through our upbringing, really. And he's someone who would probably say that, well, Uffies is what we called them. They had the rub of the green against us in practically all different sorts of sports. Maybe hockey we had her over him, and water polo, but that was about it. To be honest,
for those listeners who are wondering what the hell we're going on about, but Dustin went to a school called Pretoria Boys High, and their biggest rivals are Affies, and they just call them about being over the tracks, literally. Yeah, and it's like Liverpool and Manchester United, basically, in terms of schools, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, massive rivalry. I mean, you get the school sports there vastly supported. I mean, you get them on national telly. Yeah, you get 20,000+ people there at rugby fixtures in particular. It's massive.
Exactly.
And well, cricketing as well. I mean, like I was fortunate enough to have some decent cricketers who I played with. Adam Markram is one of them. He was my skipper. He was my skipper for the couple of years that I played for the first team. And I mean, there's a few more who are coming out of it or who come from the school, like a Chris Morris as well. He's a nice, lovely little cricketer. Simon Harmer, he's a nice cricketer as well.
Yeah.
So we do produce good cricketers, however, and we've got a lovely, lovely facility from that point of view. So I did come from a pretty traditional cricketing school. However, from a competitiveness point of view, we didn't necessarily offer out scholarships and various different things. So you have to
I think the irony with South African system versus the UK system is you're talking about schools there and the numbers and the quality. And that school system, when it comes to cricket, is probably stronger than club cricket by a long way in South Africa. Whereas in this country, it's the other way around. We know that the club system with 6,000 clubs or whatever it is around the country, cricket hardly being played in high schools unless you go to a private school. And it's a complete topsy-turvy, isn't it?
Well, that's why you see the professional game. Well, I say riddled. It's probably a strong word for it, but you've got a lot more private school boys who go into professional cricket. It's at the end of the day, I'll be honest, it's a little bit about who you know and the system that you're in that kind of gets your foot in the door there. And it's a bit of a bit of a burny, touchy subject with me because I think, well, I kind of came through the club system and managed to get my deal through that way, and it was incredibly difficult. I mean, you have to have extreme X factor or definitely something about you to kind of get that opportunity and then take that opportunity at the next level. And I just wish clubs or professional sides would start looking into club cricket because we've got some wonderful talent out there.
Well, I kind of asked you, Giles, on this yesterday when we were at the club championship, and it's possibly something we'll talk to him some more. Just about the difficulties in terms of clubs actually trialling people, because they've brought in a system to stop players being taken advantage of to play second-team cricket and other things. But it means that they have to pay them. Yeah. And they have to pay them reasonably well. So
I think it's over a 6-week period that as well. So like you kind of have to sign on. It's like an apprenticeship in a sense, and you've got you have to show faith within that player. So scouting wise, you have to kind of go out of your way to be absolutely sure that you want to have a look at this player over a certain amount of time. And I suppose the difficulty that comes in with club cricket is a lot of these people are working your 9 to 5 in a sense, and they can't necessarily afford to take the time off, and maybe get a little bit of money from trialing, but you wouldn't be able to justify living on that, and that's the challenge with it. So if you want to have a good go at professional cricket, you have to kind of sacrifice and just understand that you're probably going to go through a bit of a trialing time from a financial point of view, or it's going to be an element of doubt in your head, and am I good enough, or I have to perform in these next 6 games or in the next 6 weeks, otherwise they're going to lose interest in me, or they're going to go a different direction. I'm giving up a lot for this, so it's tough and it is challenging for them. So the justification to go and trial, I know Josh Lacey, for example, he's a fantastic cricketer. He's won our Premier League's MVP 3 years in a row or 2 years in a row, and he's shown so much promise. He was part of the academy. He trialled a couple times, scored a few runs here and there, but just couldn't justify doing that over needing to pay for the bills and getting to work. And it's a challenge, and it's not easy to balance. It's probably why they look internal, why they go through the academy structure, and it's probably why private schooling kids come through a little bit easier, with a little bit more support in that sense. So the reason for the amount of professional cricketers who come from private schools is purely because of the support and opportunity, isn't it? And it's a bit of a shame, but
But everyone develops at a different rate. I mean, it sounds like you developed possibly a bit later on than some, and for those that develop a little bit later, that aren't absolute guns when they're 16, their door is pretty much closed to a lot of clubs, because potentially these clubs can't necessarily afford to take that punt on you for financial and other reasons. I mean, if they put a second team side out, if it's full of low 20s players, it's costing £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 a game after expenses, and some clubs just can't afford that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the vehicle owner's manual for important feature limitations and information.
Let's have a look at another league that came to a conclusion at the weekend, Hugh. Let's go back to what was Dustin's original part of the world, back to East Anglia. Again, a phenomenal looking weekend that was we were going into there. Sudbury, your old club there, Dustin, ended the league in 9th place. They weren't in touch with the league leaders, though, going into the end of the season. And it basically boiled down to a shootout at the weekend between Sawston and Babraham, Copdock and Old Ipswichian, Horsford and Swaderston. Fascinating games to watch over the weekend. Swaderston, ex-champions and ex-National Cup winners, etc., they went down to Copdock and Old Ipswichian, put 314 on the board for their 50 overs, only for Copdock and Old Ipswichian to almost chase them down. They got to 314 themselves and won the game on least wickets with another phenomenal innings from Sam Arthurton, who's been one of the players of the season, not only in the East Anglian League, but across the NCCA as well. But in the meantime, Sawston and Babraham, they went down to Frinton on Sea and to play, and just basically needed to win to get through. And I was following that game at the weekend, Hugh, and they were 10 for 3, Sawston and Babraham. They were chasing down 232. You won't mind me saying their skipper, Dan Heath, out injured for the season for the last couple of weeks. I think he was a little bit nervous, shall we say, watching that 10 for 3 chasing 232. But they got there, didn't they?
Well, it's just, I think these top clubs, they just have the depth, don't they? And when you're 10 for 3, many clubs, that's chasing 230 odd, that's game, set and match. But, they've got Ben Clayton scoring 69 off 112 balls and Lee Thomason 87 not out off 127, pretty much got the job done for them, and Alex Evans at the end, quick 36 to win it. But yeah, it just a great chase for Sawston and makes them deserved champions. But it's been a brilliant league, that. It's been really, really close. I mean, Dustin, what was it like to play in the East Anglia Prem? How does it compare to the Derbyshire Prem?
It's extremely competitive. That's what I do remember. I would probably say, look, being critical and so on, I'd probably say the strength is a little bit more diverse and spread a little bit wider throughout the clubs there. Whereas the Derbyshire Prem, you kind of have your top four flight clubs, your stronger clubs. You've got a lot more depth, and you speak about depth. It's pivotal. Your spread of and your pool of players that you can select and come into the first team, as well as down the batting order, for example, or use of bowlers. These bigger clubs do tend to attract these cricketers because they want to be part of winning teams. They want to try to win the league. There's a little bit more money in it for players as well, which is it's just the harsh reality of the way the cricket's going, or Premier League cricket around the country, I believe, is going. And we'll just have to kind of come to terms with that. So, I mean, I remember facing most of these teams. Yeah, there's a couple new teams that in here that I didn't really play against. But Sawston and Babraham were one of them, for example. I think they came up the year I left. And I know they finished in the top half that season, and then they won it the season after that, and then I won it again. So I don't really know a hell of a lot about them, but I do know Copdock, and I do know Sam Arthurton, and I do know Sawston. I do know Horsford very well. So yeah, those are probably four very competitive clubs, big clubs as well. I know we all know what Swardston's success has been throughout nationally for many seasons. They were a prolific side. I remember batting wise, top heavy as well. I remember Joe Gatting's one of them,
who's now playing at Great Witchingham. Yes. They put pay to Horsford. Any chance Horsford had disappeared with what happened there. Horsford were bowled out for 160, which I'm pretty darn sure they were quite surprised at that. And with a certain Monty Panesar taking 1 wicket for 12 runs off 4 overs. But the key to that win for Great Witchingham, and there was a couple of people texting me along the way, was they batted down the order. Brett Stolworthy comes in at, I think it was number 8, and he can still bat. James Spellman scores 52, and they made sure that Horsford were going to win the title there. But I think the most remarkable thing about the weekend in East Anglia, and we'll bring this one to an end. Congratulations to our friends at Sawston and Babraham, but 2 games that ended up as effectively run ties, but teams won by lower wickets. So Copdock and Old Ipswich won by 6 wickets, having chased down 314 and equalled Swardeston. And Ashmore and Barton Wanderers, they won by 1 wicket, having chased down Mildenhall's 211. Mildenhall 211 all out on Saturday, and Ashmore and Barton Wanderers chased it down. And in the last over, I think it was it Q? In fact, it might even have been. I'll just check it. Yeah, they took 2 runs in the last over.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that a tie? I mean, you've robbed us of a tie here. You've robbed us of a tie. I love a tie.
Well, I've got screenshots that proved that Play Cricket showed the words tie for the Copdock game, and then a couple of hours later it changed to won by. So even Play Cricket. Yeah. It's
we don't get enough ties in cricket, and we've been robbed of 2 there, I feel.
Absolutely. Hey, it was a great weekend in East Anglia, though, and it's great to see what we've. That's got to be our most fun league of the season to watch, hasn't it?
It's. I think, as Dustin just touched on, the depth in that league. It's a league fed by Premier Leagues, and the standard of it is fantastic. And when you've got Great Witchingham essentially bringing in Joe Gattin to not necessarily to stave off relegation, but just come in for the second part of the season, and he's hitting hundreds like that, and just you've got the bottom club, Saffron Walden have gone down, but they've still made a good account of themselves. There's no easy games in that league, so it's been. Yeah,
you travel a long way for it, though. You got to remember that that East Anglian Prem is massive. The whole of East Anglia, you travel 2 hours sometimes to get to your fixtures.
It's only 20 miles away.
And we talk about formats. So they halve the season, so they'll play the 50 over format, and then they'll play the more declaration cricket and time cricket. That's it. Throughout the middle bit, which was quite fun but taxing. Because when you have to bowl 18 overs, it's quite taxing. That, especially when you're trying to win the game for your side. It's
Speaking of taxing, Matt Taff's joined us, and I'm just seeing if he's got bloodshot eyes.
Yeah, can we have a hard look there, Matt? You've got back from Worcester this morning. You've taxed us yesterday with your company all day. That's because he avoided IKEA. Was it B&Q, George, you was at?
It's B&Q, yeah.
Yeah, the money came out of joint account in B&Q, so...
Don't worry, I come back to decorating here, left, right and centre, mate. But we had
you can't win either way, can you?
No, we had a great day in Worcester. You guys would be, in particular, slightly disappointed with the result, with Northern players working for Cricket. But we had a fabulous day supporting the ECB Club National Championship Day yesterday. And I don't know what you've seen on social media this morning, Matt, but we've had a great reaction from everyone on what we did yesterday.
Yeah, we've had the same, really. It was a great day. Worcester did put on a show as well at New Road.
Yeah.
And then we just provided the videos and socials. So good day all around.
Absolutely. We'll obviously talk about that in the coming weeks. I'm sure we'll get 1 or 2 of the Northern and probably one of the Brentwood lads on again. They're all desperate to come on and have a chat about it. Surprise, surprise. But let's have a look at what we do with the Cricket Boys week in, week out. And let's have a look at what your lot have been doing with the batters, shall we first? I think there's a couple of familiar names in there.
Yeah, again, not much. Season's finished. A lot of pros have gone home and they're coming to the conclusion of the season. But Safi Ghaffari used to talking about his bowling figures. He's finished with 109 off 80 balls as Richmond should pile him on against Hartlepool. So I wasn't expecting that when I looked at the Play Cricket stats, but serious knock from him. He leads the away with the only 100 of the weekend from our guys. Therindu for Bracebridge Heath, again, another 87 for him. It's either 100 or 80s for that boy at the minute. So he's 2,200 runs for the year, I think he's finished up with for them. So a gamble worth paying for Bracebridge. And then, like you just mentioned, on that Mildenhall game that ended in a tie that wasn't, with KC Cariappa 65 off 32. And then Zimbabwean Connor Mitchell 65 for Frinton, just to rattle us off with the batters.
Let's get stuck into the national figures, shall we, Hugh? And I know there's a couple of people at the top of the list, but God, there's some numbers here, isn't there, mate?
Yeah, I've got to start with an apology to Joe Pocklington in the Bradford League. Play Cricket's been hard work this year, and my system didn't download a game. Well, yeah, it didn't download a game. He got 200 in, So you got 200 not out on the first week of September. I've only just picked up on that, so apologies to him. He'd have been right up there that weekend. But yeah, Zaid Mansour, 161 not out for Grantham against Bourne in the Lincolnshire Prem. He's top of the tree. Saranga Rajaguru, 153 for Swardston in that game against Copdock. Great performance there off only 113 balls. And then a certain Bryn Llewellyn, back-to-back 150s for him. He's going home this week, I think. So he won't be part of the Yorkshire Prem playoffs. But yeah, some season he's had 151 off 100 balls, Clifton Alliance against Woodhouse Grange. That sets him well clear at the top of the national standings. He's hit 1,500 Premier League runs this season. And he's taken wickets as well. I think he got 4 for this weekend as well. So yeah, what a performance from him this season. Really been a standout, and be great to see how he goes back in Brisbane and maybe kick on to potentially professional things. We'll see what this season's done for him. Number 4 on the list, Deepak Karti, 145 off 104 for Smethwick at Wolves, and then Jack Redshaw for Scarborough, 132 off 97 against Driffield in the Yorkshire Prem North as well. So some plenty of runs in Yorkshire this weekend.
Yeah, and I think what I noticed across the scores there this weekend, Hugh, in particular, some great strike rates from the top, the top 10. 161 off 133, 153 off 113, 151 off 100. You come down to Zach Wills for Sowerby Town, 112 off 68. There was some good numbers. Josh Sharrett, Dustin's colleague at Ockbrook, 114 there. And just further down the list, I've just got to point out a couple of names in particular. So Nikhil Garantla, another ton for South Northumberland and one of the NCCA Challengers players. Reeve Evans, Staffordshire, and Kenneth Wardens with a ton. And great to see Jack Carney, who I think has been one of my little standouts of the season, playing twos cricket week in, week out for Derbyshire, wicketkeeper, back up for Southport and Birkdale and getting a ton up there as well. So well done to Jack. And I do hope if you come to Derbyshire again, mate, they put your name on the back of the shirt, because I'm sick of not seeing it on there. You deserve it without a shadow. Just
above him there, Ben McKinney, 100 not out of 55 for Burnett Field against Benwell Hill. So another super quick ton. Yeah, I think everyone's just having a bit of fun. End of season, pressure's off for many of these teams. Let's have a bit of a swing, and it's come off.
Definitely. Hey, let's have a look at the bowlers in your list at Cricket. Who's left in the country and who's still doing it for us?
Left arm spinner for Ainsdale, Delanka Uwar. So he's gone 6 for 48. That I think he is due to fly home this week as well. So I think he misses the last game, but he's finished with 87 wickets at an average of 10.
Yeah.
And that was the 11th 5-wicket haul of the summer. So
11th 5-wicket haul.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's had a seriously good year with Ainsdale.
Yeah.
Pat Brown for Kidderminster, 5 for 50 against Shrewsbury.
Talking of Derbyshire.
And then, like you say, it's just plenty of forfers for finish. But Moek Jangra for Highfield, 4 for 40. Again, he's been a serious player throughout the summer with both runs and wickets for Highfield. So interested to see if he's there on Saturday when we have to play Highfield. But no, it's proper year from him as well. I'm sure they're desperate to get him back for next year.
Definitely. Hugh, what you got nationally on those national bowlers? There's some decent numbers out there, I think, but not as many as in the tons.
Not quite as chaotic as the hundreds, but we've got Joshua Unsworth for Maudsley against St Anne's in the Northern Prem, 8 for 46. That's the only 8 we've got this weekend. Scott Lees at Ormskirk. I think that pretty much wraps the title up for them, doesn't it?
It wraps the title up for them, and it puts Birkenhead Park down, I think.
Does it? 7 for 26. Great performance there off just 8.2 overs. Michael Jeps at Cawthorne in Yorkshire, 11 overs, 7 for 29 against Treaton. That's in the Yorkshire Prem South. In Souness, Formby, again in the Liverpool comp, 7 for 37 against Wallasey. And then Lucky McMillan, 3.3 overs, 6 wickets for 16 for Peterborough against Old Northamptons. He didn't hang around, did he? Trained to catch there. Job done for him. But yeah, that's the top 5.
Yeah, a couple of others that I just want to mention further down. So we've already talked about the Cheshire League and Jimmy Warrington, who was bowling for Nantwich, took 5 for 16 in 4 overs. That's what did for Didsbury in the Cheshire League there. And one of our old favourites from earlier in the season, Ishan Abisekara for Harrogate with another 5 for 19 off 2.5 overs. The numbers are just phenomenal from one or two of these players. It'd be great to see one or two of these players back doing what they do again next year, especially from the overseas boys.
Yeah, and just
Matt,
you mentioned Shafi Ghaffari there with his 100, but in terms of wickets, I've got him as second in the country in wickets this season across all Premier Leagues. So he's having some season.
Wow. I have a funny feeling, though, that Bryn Llewellyn might end up as the top all-rounder as well as the top batter, the amount of wickets he's taken.
We'll see about that. Hold on, I'll press my button and we'll see if what turns up. Yes, currently sitting top. There's a few games I haven't sort of downloaded, but yeah, I would suspect he's going to be hard to beat. Him, Liam Banks, Joe Pocklington, all there, and Dushan Vermukti is also right up there as well. So, yeah, there's some serious seasons had amongst those. I mean, Daniel Salpietro as well. He's done brilliantly in the Lancashire League.
Definitely. Well, we'll come to one or two of those figures in an episode we're going to do at the end of the season. We'll be looking at the numbers right across the board and get one or two people on to comment about them without a doubt. Matt, we're going to have the pleasure of your company again next Sunday. Got to ask, though, you stayed over last night in Worcester. How did the Brentwood lads go?
Didn't see much for them, to be honest. We had a walk into town. The only place that was open was Wetherspoons. It was an absolute ghost town. And then everyone just went back to the hotel, the Premier Inn, overlooking the ground, and stayed there for a few hours. And they ventured off. When we went down for breakfast this morning, they weren't there. So
I've seen some interesting photos, is all I'll say right now. But I do know that as I left the ground yesterday, Aaron West, the Brentwood skipper, I think I was talking to him for less than 4 minutes, and he was offered 6 pints in that time. He was not going to have to buy a pint for the rest of that night or the rest of the year by the looks of things for Brentwood. So we had a great day there yesterday, Matt, but look forward to seeing you on Sunday at Derbyshire. Northern versus Oundle Town for the National T20 Championship. And for those of you who are listening now, we've also done a little bit of a preview of the European Championship that's coming up very shortly. And Vinny Sandu's looking forward to seeing whether it's Oundle or Northern coming over to Cartama next year. We've already warned him. Could be interested if it's Northern.
Probably we're going over there as well. What do you reckon?
Well, Gav Griffiths has been on to me this morning about exactly that conversation. So we've got to be looking at it without a doubt, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I think we didn't actually ask Vinny if he'd pay for our flights, did we? That was silly of us. We've missed a trip.
We just got an open-ended invite out there. It's great, isn't it? Hey, Matt, great to see you, mate. You don't look too bad considering the night you've had with Hursty.
I've looked a lot worse driving up when I was stuck at Knutsford. Oh, that's for sure. But
see you Sunday, mate.
Well, good. See you later. Cheers, guys.
Oh, such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com's primetime kickoff event. Save up to 50% off select styles, plus doorbusters. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Achieve clean, healthy-looking skin with Youth to the People. The 20-time award-winning superfood cleanser gently deep cleanses and removes makeup and SPF in 30 seconds. For skin that's hydrated, balanced, and soothed, never stripped. It's the green juice cleanse for your face. Formulated with good-for-you antioxidants like kale, spinach, and multivitamins to respect your barrier. No disruption. Find out why one cleanser is sold every minute in the U.S. Shop now at Sephora.
Dustin, numbers all over the country there. It's it comes to that end of the season and the batters are having a bit of fun, aren't they, in some places? And it does work both ways. It means you bowlers do get sort of a little bit of a look in every now and again.
Maybe every now and then. It is a batter's game. I will argue that until my face turns blue.
Most bowlers do, funnily enough, don't they?
Yeah. Some of the wickets we play on and some of the rough hands we get dealt. Especially when you get some very good batters just doing what they like to. At the end of the day, it's the bowler's job to put the ball in play, and it's up to the batter what to do, isn't it?
It is, but most definitely. Hey, let's get down to brass tacks in the Derbyshire League. We've got one game to go, and there is 3 points between A and B and Sandiacre. So this weekend, A and B have got a home game against already relegated Sawley, and Sandiacre have got an away game at Borrowash. Simple question, Dustin. Who's going to win it?
Well, A and B will win it. I've got no doubt that both teams should win their fixtures. However, A and B, I'll give it to them. They've been a fantastic unit, especially that batting unit, batting all the way down to 6. The players that they've got, good experience under their belt. They've seen everything. They've played professional cricket as well. They've been working towards us, to be fair, over the last couple of years. And I do think they deserve it. They play the best cricket. They play the game well. Not trying to be flamboyant or crazy. They just play good, proper, traditional cricket. And to be fair to them, it's worked out fantastically for them.
And you can't see a surprise coming over at Walkfield when they play on Rubbish for Sandiacre. Then you see Sandiacre beating them, and clearly A and B playing Sawley. I mean, Sawley have got nothing to play for, but pride, have they?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we played relegated really till after that relegation hits aside, that the availability of players tends to struggle, and they kind of, it's a bit of a sad state of affairs. But the club tends to just be hurting a bit, and players tend to be hurting a bit. So, I don't see Sawley doing something incredible to stop A and B from winning that game, personally.
Okay.
The league defining game for me does involve Sawley, and it's against Sandiacre at Sandiacre on the 4th of May. I mean, Sawley managed to win that game as a great century from Kieran Pell, I believe. Yeah, Kieran Pell 138 not out in that game. And that seems to be the match that has decided the title, considering Sawley's form after that. We had sort of high hopes for Sawley to real kick on from that, but they weren't able to do so. And that one fixture has sort of done it for Sandiacre.
Yeah, the small fixtures like that can hurt team. I mean, I mentioned ours where we lost after a 15-game winning streak. We lost to bottom half of the table, Balper Meadows, and it kind of took the air out of our tires a little bit. And it's just crazy how one game like that can change the whole demographic of what your season looks like. And it's hindsight's a beautiful thing, and if you did things differently, it's wonderful. But when you get to the business end of a league season, it gets nip and tuck. And if we had 3 or 4 teams all scrapping for the title at the end there, it would have been very interesting. But it keeps it interesting this weekend. Then again, this is what I speak about, the spread of good cricketers throughout the league, and good teams throughout the league, where even a relegated side could still be a bogey team for a top of the league side. And it's I do believe our league in particular will get stronger next year with the Chesterfield and the Ticknell coming up. Ticknell have some fantastic cricketers there, specifically batters. So do Chesterfield, to be fair. So I do think the league will get stronger next year, but it's I just don't see those two teams losing this weekend. However, it's a funny game. We've all seen enough and played in cricket to see that funny things do happen in the game.
With Chesterfield coming back in, I mean, they're such a big club, Chesterfield. Huge demographic. You scratch your head as to why they aren't perennially Premier League in the Premier League, but they've had a bit of a changing of the guard, I think, in the back room there, haven't they? And things really pushing forwards. They've got a real plan in place, so they could be, if they get up and stay up, they could be a powerhouse for quite a few years.
Yeah, well, they traditionally have. I believe they won the league the 1 year or something along those lines due to a rain now. And Pip, these things can happen, but it's scary how quickly a team can fold as quickly as it does well, and success is there.
Let's have a look at that final league that we wanted to have a look at from the weekend, Hugh. The North Staffs and South Cheshire League. We went down to the final day of the season where potentially 6 teams could have won the league. And that is the closest top 6 in the country. Stone, I believe, if I remember rightly, started the day in 6th place. And it was all going to be down to the results of the various teams playing against each other. But in particular, the Hemheath versus Porthill game was the one that was going to do it. Hemheath won the North Staffs and Cheshire Premier League last season in 2023. We said it last week when we were talking on the pod. They started off the season as an absolute disaster. 6 out of 7 games, I think they lost in the first half, and nobody thought they were even going to get close. But they've gone a run of 15 out of 16, I think it is, to win. And they bowled first on Saturday. Porthill Park got to 206. I was watching the other games to see how Checkley would get on. They got beat. Stone won. League won. But it didn't matter. Hemheath did it again and just came through and won the league, didn't they?
A great performance from them. So Hemheath, Porthill, Liam Banks had it again, basically. We're in a bit of strife there. It wasn't the most straightforward game for them. They were chasing, lost 2 early. Liam Banks, 75 off 60 balls. And then, again, a little bit nervy towards the end. But yeah, Zephyr and Hunt, Greg Prime saw them home, didn't they? But Porthill, put up a great total. So it wasn't an easy game for Hemheath whatsoever.
It wasn't. I think what was remarkable about it, Hemheath bowling first and Liam Banks, 9 overs, 2 maidens, 0 for 48. I don't know if he's actually gone through the season without not getting a wicket. But even more remarkably, the first 3 bowlers for Hemheath didn't take a wicket. So I can imagine having got on this run of 14, 15 out of 16, whatever it is to get there. They've got to that stage, they're bowling. All they've got to do is win. And they struggled to take wickets on Saturday against Porthill. But they turned it round again. Liam did what Liam does. He came out 75 off 60 balls. And comfortably in the end, Hemheath won with a bit of a canter, really. 2.5 overs left to go. They are deserved champions. And one of very few champions around the country to have retained their title.
Yeah, I think the nervous moment there, 26th over, back-to-back wickets, Hemheath lost. Laverty out first ball. They were 143 for 6 at that point, so it could have gone a bit sideways there. But they only lost 1 more wicket in getting them, like you say, quite comfortably with a few overs to go.
Absolutely. Not many leagues left to finish off this season. Without a shadow, Derbyshire is the fastest one, the closest one to finish off this weekend, Dustin. Got to ask, you've put your hat on A and B to win it, but outside of that, how pleased would you be to see the end of the season and get a break?
Yeah, no, the body needs it. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long season. I think everyone's just kind of just waiting for it to come to an end. Don't worry, it will take about a month and a half before everyone's just counting down the days before the season starts again. So it's how it is.
You can come and play my indoor cricket team if you want, Dustin, at the Willows, if you fancy it. We're always one short. Yeah, there you go.
Well,
you might have a different standard to me and my mates.
I went to Lords in the beginning of the year for the club national indoor final. We played a couple sides there. I forgot the team that we played against in the semi to who we lost to, but yeah, I'll play a bit of indoor cricket league. Yeah, I might turn up.
Tension net stuff, not this English stuff, but the tension net stuff, bouncing it down, get it up and down into the roof of the net, that kind of stuff. That's what
I got you. Proper indoor cricket. Yeah, I got you.
Proper indoor cricket.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what the powers that be at Ockbrook will be thinking when Dustin turns up, having played some tension net cricket over the winter.
Yeah, but instead of hitting his cut shot for 4, he's bounced it 1 foot in front of him and trying to bounce it off the square into the roof of the sky.
No, I only hit straight. So me hitting straight, and I admire my shots. I tend to admire them, so I'll hit them and I'll admire them and get run out.
Get run out, yeah.
No time to admire it in indoor cricket. None of this striker pose.
Yeah. No.
Been great to have you on, Dustin. Great to finish off the season locally for a change, Hugh. We haven't done. We've got one more match week recorded to do next week, but don't worry, we're going to be going right through the winter. We've got plenty to talk about. Just give you a quick heads up. We've got Ashley Giles is definitely going to come on for us and talk about the NCCA and the Worcestershire recruitment from there. We spoke with him yesterday at Worcester. He's more than happy to do that. We've got Nigel Martin has agreed to come on, the ex-Everton and Leeds goalkeeper.
And England.
Nigel Martin. Yeah, and he's a wicket keeper. and he has just been promoted with Knaresborough Town into the Yorkshire North Premier League. He's agreed to come on, and I've not said it yet, but I'm going to say it out loud. A certain Mr. Bumble, David Lloyd, has agreed to come on in the next few weeks once the season's out of the way. And he'll be able to talk to us all about Lancashire League and what goes on up there, Premier League-wise versus Lancashire, etc. But it's just Bumble, so we'll just talk cricket at the end of the day, won't we?
Say one word and
send
him off. Yeah,
absolutely. But if you want a real treat, guys, this pod's going to go out, obviously, during the week. But just look forward to Monday, the 23rd of September. For me, one of the best days of the year when the European Cricket Championship starts. And we've got 27 days of utter non-stop carnage cricket. T10, that unless you know what you're doing on it, it's just fabulous to watch it.
Astro.
Short boundary.
Astro. Boom, boom, Basil.
Basil Jaw. You got it. But England are the champions and we're going out there to defend it. And we'll be doing some work with the NCCA boys between now and then. They'll be announcing the squad very shortly. And let's be honest, Hugh, they're all Premier League players. That's the key, isn't it? That's why we follow these boys. So plenty to come, Dustin. Keep joining us during the winter, mate, and might have to get you onto a forum once or twice.
That's it.
Cheers, Hugh.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Premier League Cricket Show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes and stay updated on all the latest news, views and discussions from around the Cricket's Premier Leagues. And be sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram at TPL Cricket Show on both. Join the conversation, share your thoughts and connect with us and your fellow Premier League cricket fans. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, why not show us some love? Leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform, as it helps other potential listeners to find us when they're searching for cricketing podcasts. Thanks again for being part of the Premier League Cricket Show family, and until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.